question. All right, week one. I love this. I know you do too as well, Peter. You can get a feel for the leagues and the upper echelon teams in each league when they play each other. And we know that the SEC, I think it's pretty well consensus across the board from people to watch football that it's the best league. But at the last couple of years, it's been, okay, there's a debate, there's an argument of how much better it is. Sure. And when we get games like Ole Miss and Florida State, LSU-Wisconsin, Alabama-USC, it's like, okay, let's see what happens when the big boys from each league play. So if you could only watch one of these games, and hopefully you're going to get to see a whole bunch, as I will too, which game is it for you?
I mean, it's funny because we talked about that on the SEC Network tonight. Me and Laura Rutledge, my new co-host here at the studios, we had a draft pick, and her first draft pick was Alabama-USC, so that was off the board for me. And I took LSU-Wisconsin. If for no other reason, I think LSU wins the SEC. I want to see what they do week one. Not only how that offense is going to look with, obviously we know Leonard Fournette's going to be solid, but Cam Cameron and Brandon Harris, are they going to really truly open up the offense on the road at Lambeau Field? That is to be seen. But more importantly, I can't wait to see what the defense is going to look like. Dave Aranda, the former defensive coordinator at Wisconsin, is now the defensive coordinator at LSU. And he's got incredible athletes in front of him. They're going to go to a 3-4 defense. So for me, I can't wait to watch that one. And I guess probably second most, I don't know where you have this. It's not even even though I'm an SEC guy, Houston, Oklahoma, I cannot wait to watch that game. Because I'm a firm believer that if Houston wins that game, they're going to the college football playoff. They'll be favored in every single one of their games. The media likes Tom Herman enough to where he's got that kind of cool vibe and suave about him that they will push for him to have an opportunity to at least eke his way into the college football playoff. And that's bad news for all the other Power 5 teams that may be on the bubble.
And Houston's got a late season date against Louisville, who's not going to be a great team most likely, but they're going to be very solid, 8-9 wins, and that'll bring some cachet as well to it.
Too. Houston plays Louisville. They'll host them in Houston. So Houston doesn't have a tough road game at all.
Okay, here's my quick rundown here. LSU, Wisconsin, I love the big boy football. You know those teams are going to run between the tackles and size it up. There's there's a distinct talent advantage for LSU speed. We typically see it out of Wisconsin, though. They roll up the sleeves. They're technically sound. They're just so gritty and fundamentally sound. They'll play well. I expect LSU to have a decided advantage, win the game, but Wisconsin should show up in that one. Bama, USC is obviously the glam matchup. In terms of name, I don't know that USC is quite there and ready to take on an Alabama yet. Maybe in 2 years that's going to be a better game. The one that I think the SEC could really distinguish itself would be if Florida State turns out to be, again, the class of the ACC, or at least a strong number 2 to Clemson, but Ole Miss is the 5th or 6th best team in the SEC.
Right.
And they win a week one against Florida State, then that's going to make a huge statement for the SEC.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen a lot of people pick Florida State for the college football playoff just because of the tools that they have. Now, it's kind of interesting. The quarterback that probably should be starting for FSU is actually trying to battle his way on at Auburn. It should have been probably John Franklin III had he stayed at Florida State. But that's a whole different other hangout that we can have another day and talk about that. But, yeah, I think that's going to be the biggest measuring stick game. Not as far as interest-wise. I don't know which way to go with that. I mean, we talked so much here in the SEC Network about all the teams in the conference. The one team we really haven't talked about is Ole Miss. I mean, we talked about them a lot because of the NFL draft, but we really didn't talk about them so much as other than Chad Kelly, what the running attack's going to look like. Who's going to replace Kimdichie up front? Laquan Treadwell was great, but he's playing on Sundays now. So if Chad Kelly can come up and lead Ole Miss to what I think would be an upset, he's going to have Heisman Trophy frontrunner probably emblazoned on his profile for the rest of the season.
Peter Burns from the SEC Network. Peter, I think they really appreciate when you're preparing for our show and you're dressing up for us that you get to wear the nice clothes on the SEC Network as well.
Hey, man, I just came straight from the studio, so that's why it was easy to talk about. It was fresh of mind, and I mean, listen, we're 3 weeks away. This is the best time of year. You can already start to smell the tailgates, so it's gonna be fun.
Peter, we know you're running around, so we appreciate you sitting down with us for a couple minutes.
Anytime, bud.